Alright, hello everyone, welcome to the stream. Sadly, I couldn't stream the last couple of days. I still programmed on the project, which is a voxel based game in 2D, hopefully. It's gonna be a platformer, but to work with voxels, I wanted to make a very simple and basic voxel editor, which I've been working on. So last time I was working on text output, and as you can see I already got that working, and I started work on a very simple graphical user interface. As you can see here, right now there's only support for buttons and windows, which I can minimize and close, and I made it so that I can sort them based on which one was focused last. Yeah, but it's not very useful right now because there aren't many controls yet. The voxel editing still works, but I can just create and destroy voxels as of now. I would like to implement texturing and moving voxels around, and defining the voxel grid itself dynamically by saying, oh, do I need to? Well, maybe I don't want that. I guess for tiles, the voxel grid is always 16 by 16 by 16. So maybe that can be hard coded. Let's see. What did I call it? Count. Something count. Cell count. Let's do it. 16 by 16 by 16. This should make the grid smaller. Yeah, it's now super tiny, but you can still add voxels. So I think when voxel editing, it's useful to select voxels, not just add and remove voxels. Right now I can just insert voxels or delete them, but I also need to be able to select a group of voxels and do something with them, like moving them around or deleting a bunch of them at once. So let's go about implementing voxel selecting. So I have, this is the state that is that has to do with the voxel view. So I'm gonna add an axis aligned bounding box, an integer based axis aligned bounding box, which is the selection. It's gonna say which region of the voxel grid we are currently selecting. Okay. Then over at the voxel code, I'm gonna add a new key press type. So we're gonna select voxels by pressing the middle mouse button. So when we're pressing the middle mouse button, we're gonna do the same thing as here. We're gonna raycast in the voxel grid. But when we find a voxel, instead of adding or removing the voxel, we're gonna set it as selected. Or we're gonna adjust the selection. Let's see. So we want to define the bounding box using the width, height, and depth. The initial selection is always 1, 1, 1, starting from the position we selected or we're looking at. And that's basically it, and then we're gonna render that selection. So we need to turn the selection indices into vault coordinates. So I have a conversion. No, that's fine. Just basically we're gonna scale the integer based coordinates with a float. I don't have that right. Operator. I can scale integers using integers. I could do this. Oh, and that's not gonna work. Oh, I could write it like this. Those had typos in them. The argument is called R, not left hand side. I could do the same thing here. Right, so then okay, this actually transforms, this scales the integer based axis aligned bounding box to a float based one. But the division code isn't exactly correct when dealing with float scalars, and I don't think I can do partial. Can I do this? Oops. Okay, this does work. Okay, now that I did this, I don't think I want to use simple scaling here, because I, in theory, I can have cells that aren't evenly sized, like the width and the height could be different values, and right now I am scaling everything uniformly. So I think I'm gonna do something else here. So we're gonna scale it like this, but using a T-vec3. Which is basically the scaling factor for all three axes. Then we're gonna return. That's actually not correct. Super ugly looking definition, but it should be working. Left bottom here. Same thing again with the right top and far values. But it does compile. So this is scaled correctly to the world coordinates, but the problem is the world coordinates are different than the voxel coordinates, since the voxel grid uses this coordinate system where the positive x and z go in these directions, but the positive y goes down, while my world coordinate system looks like this, where the positive values go up. So I need to invert the y coordinates. First I need to swap the top and bottom values. Since let's say the cell 000 is selected, which would mean the bottom value is 0, while the top value is 1. And in this coordinate system, I need that to be the other way around, where the bottom value is 0 and the top value is oh wait. So this is the voxel grid in ball space. So the bottom value is here smaller than the top value, which is the other way around here. And also I need to translate it to the origin of the voxel grid. Okay. So swapping them is actually correct. Since now the bottom value is the smaller one. Wait, I don't, no, I don't need to swap. Okay, where is the voxel grid origin? Do I have it here somewhere? Wait, cast into voxel grid. No. But I can just calculate it, which is cell height times cell count y. This is the top left position of the voxel grid. Okay, and then let's just render it and see what happens. Let's see. Let's make it red. Okay, I need to invert the Y positions. It's almost working though. So this is the top of the voxel grid, and we're gonna invert the Y position based on that position. Oh, well, that was too much. Since we already translated the position of the thing, so I needed to adjust the position here twice as much. Yeah, okay, there it is. And the reason for that is because since I was already translating the box, the inversion wasn't. I need to undo the translation for the Y and for the Y positions only, and then invert them based on the top of the voxel grid. And now that they are the correct offset, we can now see which voxel I'm selecting, in addition to adding voxels and removing them. I can now select voxels too. Okay. Now I would like to be able to make the selection bigger. I'm just thinking about what the best way to do that would be. So I need to somehow display um, a coordinate system here, so I can select the axes and then advance the selection in that direction. Okay, let's draw the coordinate system. So x-axis, which is basically wait, I can draw this as a line. Now I only need to supply two positions, which is just the left, bottom, near, and okay, I'm gonna write a helper macro here, so I can swizzle thing I want to get out of this. I guess that could be that isn't really okay, let me just try it out first. Do I need to type? So I would write something like this where I guess I need to supply the type here like this. So I need the right bottom near values. So I would write it like this. Does that work? No. Oh, this first one doesn't work. So that was the left bottom year value. Okay, that compiles actually. Oops. I should disable rendering the selection first. So they are currently overlapping. Oh, there it is. It's in blue. It's the wrong line. Since I said bottom, this needs to be top. I wanted it to render the bottom of the currently selected voxel, but also I would like to no, it's hard to see. I would like to have that always face the camera. So if I'm looking at the selected voxel from here, this edge here should be highlighted. Should call this Swizzle 3. Yeah, it still compiles. Can I say this? Yeah. So I can still use types with this. I'm not sure whether I like this syntax though. Can I do this? Oh, this does work. Interesting. Wait, I'm not using it. Mm -mm -mm. Top near, top near. So the first one works and then the rest of them don't. I was hoping that this would work. No, okay. I'm gonna look that up different time. Or maybe, let's see. Oh, it is with two underscores. I don't just want to pass the arguments in. I want to put something in front of each of them. I can't think of a way to do this properly. Basically, I want this thing, but with var args. I think this is wrong. No, I can't think of it. So we're gonna use this for now. Okay, then let's check here whether the camera look direction in the Z direction is positive. No, wait, we are looking in the, yeah, if it's positive, you want to draw this, and otherwise you're gonna draw the far values. Let's test it out. So, okay, right now I'm looking, the Z component of my looking direction is positive, so it's showing me this line, and if I go here, yes, it jumped to the other way. Exactly. Okay, that's good. So that is the x-axis, which should be red, I think. The z-axis is gonna be yellow or green, and the z-axis is you're not going left to right, you're going near to far. And this should be the x value. So if you're looking to the left, the z-axis should be on the right. Yeah, that's correct. And this should be near. Alright, the z-axis, and if you're looking from this, it's on the right, and from here it's on the left. Okay, great. That is how I wanted it to behave. Now the y-axis, which is yellow. I guess there are 4 possibilities for where it's gonna be. It's definitely top to bottom, bottom to top. These can stay like this. Okay, let's test it out. Okay, in these 2 cases, it's showing the right thing, but once I switch over to here, it's at the wrong place. It should be this edge, and it stays at the back. Which means Actually, this is still too simplified. I think when looking down, I want the x-axis to be displayed at the top, and when looking up, I want it to be like this. So I guess this swizzling isn't that useful. So currently the x-axis is always at the top of the selection. Which is the wrong value. So I guess I didn't swap this. The top should be the at the top of the box, not at the bottom of the box. So let me check that. Yeah, the red one is the x-axis, and now it's at the. When I say it's at the bottom, it actually is at the bottom. Before it was upside down, basically. Alright, the Y origin is the bottom. Okay, if I'm looking up, it means the Y component of the look vector is positive, which means I want the Y origin to be the bottom, and otherwise it's gonna be the top. Float X origin. So if you're looking to the right, the X origin is gonna be the left of the selection. Otherwise it's the right of the selection. And I actually need both values, just in a different order depending on how I'm looking. Okay, now this is at the x origin min, y origin min, z origin. Guess these don't have anything to do with origins, so let's get rid of those. Now the if statements should go away from here. So the x-axis goes from Hi Gamer Network UK, welcome to the stream. So the x-axis should go along the x-axis, so x min to x max. The z-axis goes along the z-axis, of course. The y goes along the y-axis, so okay. Yes, now I can always see the coordinate system based on where I'm looking at. It's always in view. Except now it's obstructed, so I need to disable depth testing when rendering the coordinate system. Alright. I am currently building a simple voxel editor, so I can make voxel based meshes. I can currently delete and place voxels and select them, but I can't move them around yet. And that's why I'm rendering a simple XYZ coordinate system here, so I can move them around. And after that I'm gonna do texturing. I already have a simple GUI, so this is gonna be a voxel editor, and afterwards I'm gonna use the voxel meshes for a simple game. Okay, I need to disable depth testing here. So I would disable depth testing here and then re-enable it. Except I don't have a set depth testing function. Just thinking about, should I have different functions for each option, or I could write it like this too. Something like this. And then I could use the same thing for hey, how would someone make a game like Game of War? What language would you recommend? I don't know what Game of War is. and whatever language you're comfortable with, I guess. It doesn't really matter, except um, some languages are easier than others, and also some languages are more performant, like C++. I would personally always use C++, but a lot of people are using Unity or something like that, and C#. I guess as a beginner, I would say use Unity. On the phone, I guess Java then. I think I'm gonna use this first option, or this. No, the first option seems fine. So I need a new render command so I can set the depth testing. Okay, no, I'm not gonna do it that way. I'm gonna do it the other way. So I would write this that way for if I wanted to enable or disable some other thing. I don't need to add a new render command type each time. I just have to add a new enum value for the render state. Right. So the render state type is, currently I'm only using depth. So it's gonna look like this. And here we're activating depth testing again. Actually, let's call it depth test. So it's more clear what it's doing. So now I need a new set render state command. Okay, let's call it render state, not renderer state. Or just set state. Well, now state type is such a non-descriptive name. So I guess render state is. So okay, it's gonna take a render state type. and the value, whether it's enabled or disabled. Yeah, this is set render state. This is the signature here. Okay, that's correct. Then we allocate the render command header and the command itself and the body is this, and now we need to process that new command, which is in the OpenGL layer. This is the new command. So I'm gonna write a new function for that because I need to switch on the render state type. Do I need anything else here? No, I think I only need these two. Arguments. Okay, let's see, what's the OpenGL context here? I think I want to cache whatever the current render options are, which means I need an array of booleans. Okay, so we're gonna check whether the render states I should pass in whatever that render state is. Set no render state type. I think I called it. So render state type. We're gonna assert that that type is correct, as in it's in the correct bounds, since we might have memory corruption issues. So if this assertion is true, it means I can just get the current state of that render state like this by indexing into this array directly using the type. And I need to know whether to enable or disable the state. So we need to pass that into, and only if we are changing the state are we actually gonna perform any actions. So we are changing the state. If you're enabling, we are gonna call GL enable, and if you're disabling, we're gonna call GL disable. And this action only needs to be taken if, again, the current state was different. Fastech asks, don't tell me you are using Windows API. Yes, I am. I separated my code into different layers. So my game code, which is this file, the game layer, is totally platform agnostic. It doesn't use any platform dependent calls or code or whatsoever. It just passes a render commands buffer back to the platform layer, and that platform layer then executes the platform dependent actions. So when I'm porting this code over to Linux, I just need to rewrite the platform layer. So that's how I do portability. So this is the platform layer. So that's why everything here is specific to Windows. Okay, now that I coded this new render command, which is so I can change the render state, I need to initialize the render state at the beginning. So when I'm initializing OpenGL, I need to set whatever options. Like here, I'm enabling at the beginning depth testing, so the render state for depth testing needs to be true. State type depth test needs to be true since it's enabled currently, and hopefully this should work, except it's not, since depth testing is still enabled, and that is because I forgot something. Before I can change the state, I need to flush whatever currently is in the vertex buffer. So we're gonna render and flush the vertex buffer like this. and then change the state. Yes, now depth testing is deactivated correctly, and we can always see the coordinate system. Good. Except I didn't choose the colors wisely. Alright, I'm gonna be back in a couple of minutes. Let's say 3 minutes. See you in 3 minutes. Okay, I'm back. So the next step would be, now that I'm rendering a coordinate system like this, is to be able to select one of the axes and then um, adjust the selected region, since currently I'm only selecting one voxel at a time, and I would like to select to extend the selection based on which of these based on what axis I'm selecting, and then moving along that axis basically, which means I need a couple of things. I need to be able to switch to different modes and remap the mouse buttons accordingly, since currently left mouse button always adds voxels, right mouse button deletes voxels, and I need a selection mode where the left mouse button doesn't add a voxel but selects the axis and then changes the region I'm selecting. So let me add as what should I call it? Mouse mode, edit mode, something like that. So the first one is the mode where I add and remove voxels. It should be called build mode, I guess. And then the other mode is select mode, where I want to select a group of voxels and then move them around or delete all of them. So we're gonna keep track of what mode we are in. Let's add a menu to change the current mode. I don't have string concatenation currently. String builder. Okay, in the sample code of my string conversion library, yeah, this is a string builder, which is kind of basic. Let's just move that out. So let's see, what is this doing? Oh, this seems fine. This is way too much. Okay, so what I probably should do is make this like printf. But currently, let's just use this, although I usually don't like this C++ style string manipulation, but this is quick and easy. I need the string name of the edit mode. Okay, if I do this, okay, let me try this out. So I need the count of the edit modes in total. Then we're gonna do a for loop. Value of edit mode count. Oops. So if the button with this name is pressed, we're gonna set the current edit mode like this. That's it. Okay, where is the fading speed? I want it to be faster. Oh, this is size T. Voxel. Game voxel state. Okay, let's test it out. Yeah, we have two modes now, and I can change the current mode. Although there is a bug here. I can hold this button down and release it on top of this button, and it thinks I press this one. But okay, now I can change the edit mode like this. Although I'm not acting upon it. I guess when showing the menu, I want the mouse position to be where it was last at, since when going back to the game view, it always goes back to the middle of the screen. That is, I don't know. Where is the width of the group? That is too much. Actually, I do this. Yeah. Okay, now it's the right size. Okay, now if when I'm in the selection mode, the voxel, so I guess I don't need this anymore. Okay, this is the movement code. I think this is getting too nested here. I'm gonna pull this out into its separate function. Something like do or process, or no, process, edit mode, something like this. And we're just gonna pass everything in. Now I can do, basically, if the voxel state isn't focused, we're not gonna do any processing, which means we are currently in the menu. And then we're gonna do a switch on the edit mode. If we're in the building mode, we're gonna handle the mouse buttons like this. And in the select mode, we're gonna do this. So the selection also we only want to render if we are in edit mode. In the selection mode, I mean. Let's see. I'm just thinking about where to put this code. Should it be in the edit mode processing, or should I do another switch here? Let's I think let's do it here. Hey Zayon19, welcome to the stream. Okay, I think this is more sensible. Having one separate function for each mode. I'm gonna do the same thing here. I'm currently working on the Voxel editor and the graphical user interface for that. I can show you in a second. Let's see. Okay, these aren't defined. Where is camera center? Oh, it's just this thing. I'm making an RPG game in C# and now I'm stuck. Where are you stuck, Seon? Tell me. Oh, this is unused. That's fine. Oh. Okay, let me see. So I can add voxels, I can remove them, and if I switch to selection mode, yeah, no, I can't add or remove anything, but also I can't select. Why can't I select? Made a bank system where the player can deposit and withdraw money. It works fine, but when you buy in front, what? Put a minus in front of the number you wanna deposit, it actually deposits the money in the bank and the player gets a minus balance. Well, what should it do if you put a minus in front of the number? Do you know that? How can I block the minus sign to be used? You can check whether the number is smaller than 0, and if it is, do this thing, which makes it positive again. That's it. Or you can, if you want to clear the number, then just set it to 0 if it's negative. That's how I would do it, I guess. So select mode. So this thing here doesn't seem to come. Let's see. Does that get called? Yes, it does. I am executing this. So does this get called? Yes, it does. The selection is correct. So why am I not seeing anything? Oh, there it is. For some reason it's behind this black thing. Oh, it's because I moved the order of the render around. So this needs to be rendered after okay, let me undo. No, this is too much. So basically I need to render this at a different location. Which means I'm gonna do this. Doesn't need to know. Okay, so where do I render? Over here. If voxel edit mode is if you're in the selection mode, you're gonna render the coordinate system. So let me try it again. We go into the selection mode. Yes, now the coordinate system gets rendered correctly on top. And I can place voxels unless I switch over to build mode. Good. So the next thing is I want the selection coordinate system to be stored in the voxel state. Should I store them as vectors or as bounding boxes? I guess vectors makes more sense. Okay, I need the wait, what am I talking about? I need them as bounding boxes. But I don't think I need to store them. Yes, I do. Okay. I need to store them because when I'm manipulating the selection based on the axis, I don't want to recalculate the axis anymore. Okay, I think this makes sense. Or does it? Okay, I'm just gonna try it out. So in the select mode, we are gonna update the axis using this method here, which I'm gonna move out from where it was into here in a minute. So depending on how the camera is oriented, we want the axes to be at different places. But instead of rendering them, I will store them in the voxel state. Okay, I need to see that in half size I can. No. Can I use this version? I guess I can use this version. Okay. AAEB width, height, depth. So the axis should be let's say they are 5 units thick. let's say 6. So the half thickness is just the thickness in half. X min that's too long. Let's call it HT. It's fine. So from this position with this thickness to this position, X max, with the thickness. Okay, this is kind of weird. So I'm only gonna do the x-axis and then see whether that's correct. Wait, did I copy this over too? Select mode. No, I didn't. Okay, so this needs to be here. Do voxel. Okay, this whole block now can go away. We are gonna clear the texture. Stream color is color. What was the x-axis? Was green. And we're gonna render the x-axis and see what it does. Oh, the x-axis was red. Which it doesn't really matter, I guess, but conversion from int to float. What is int? Which one of these is int? Oh, float and float. So let's switch to selection mode. Okay, this is kind of thick, but it is working the way I wanted it to. So I need to make it smaller. Let's say 3. Yeah. I think I actually want it to be 6, but when rendering, I'm gonna shrink it. by 3 units. Because I'm gonna use the bounding box for selection, and for selection I need it to be bigger. No matching overload. How did you find the matching overload? Okay. Now it's not getting rendered. So me shrinking it by 3. Oh, it's way too much. The total thickness is 3 and I'm shrinking it from each side by 3. It means it has a total thickness of 0 all of a sudden. Let's say 2, which means the rendered thickness is gonna be 1, but the selection thickness is still gonna be 6. Yeah, this is fine. I think 1 is enough. So you're trying to make your own voxel software? Yeah, something very simple and basic. I don't need it to be too advanced, but yes, in the end it's gonna be a voxel editor. Oops. It didn't work. Why not? What is it doing this time? Okay, now to render the rest of the axis. Red, green, yellow. Mhm. I don't know, but it had no effect. What do you mean with no effect? Is the balance still negative, or? Hmm. seems correct. Shrinking somehow moves the axes correctly, and I forgot to disable depth testing here. Okay, depth testing is disabled again. But the axes are weirdly disconnected at that point. Guess I don't want to shrink it uniformly. So for the x-axis, the left and right values need to stay, but the top and bottom I can change. So for the z-axis, it's gonna be left and right. Oh no, bottom, top, and left and right. For the y-axis, it's gonna be near and far. I don't need to be shrinking anymore. Okay, this is now correct. This is how I wanted it to look like. Maybe instead of taking my look direction into account to switch the origin of the axis, I could make it so it takes my position into account instead of the look direction. So if I'm above, well, maybe first test it out how it feels like as it is. So next thing is selecting one of the axes. Voxel state. So I'm gonna store which of the axes I'm selecting currently. So when rendering the axis, if it's the selected one, we're gonna render that in a different color. Let's say purple. And for now, I'm gonna set the selected axis depending on whether, let's see, test ray versus AABB. So we're gonna do ray intersection test with the camera and the bounding box of whatever axis we're looking at. So it's taken ray origin, ray direction, and the box. Okay. Ray origin is the camera position. Ray direction is the camera look direction. And the bounding box is the x-axis. So if you're looking at the x-axis, we're gonna just set the selected axis to the x-axis, else if it's the y, you're gonna set it to the y. Z. If you didn't intersect with anything, it's gonna be none. Okay, what's the error here? Syntax error. Oops. Syntax error. Syntax error. I'm not seeing it. Oh, the parentheses are mismatched. Okay. Right. I can now select the axis. Which is kinda awkward to select in this case because the look direction decides where the bounding box is of the axis. So I think I'm gonna change that. It's gonna be based on the camera position and not the direction we're looking at. Since yeah, it makes it very hard to select the axis if it's jumping around. So if you're below the selected voxel, it's gonna show up like this, and if you're above, it's gonna show up like this, and not depending on where we're looking. So we're gonna we're gonna take the difference of the selection left bottom near, no, min, it's called min. Yeah, it's difference of the min and the camera position. And that difference in the y direction. So this check is gonna be like this. Selection mode. Okay, now if you go below the voxel, it's gonna show up like this, and if you're although switch is kinda late. No, it's fine, I guess. No, it doesn't switch around, even though we're looking at different directions. It switches left and right based on our y position. Okay, good. Now we can select the axis, and then I want it to move the selection on that particular axis once it's selected, and I drag it like this. So how do I want to do the dragging? I guess so let's say I select the x-axis. The amount I'm moving this in the x direction, let's use paint. So basically I'm rendering the coordinate system like this. This is x, y, and z. If I select the x-axis, I'm gonna project the plane to the plane. I'm gonna take the xy plane calculate the intersection point of the camera and this plane. Right, and then yeah, right. Since this plane is axis aligned, I can just take the x value of that intersection, and that is how far along I move the selection in the x direction. So if I select the y axis, I'm gonna use the zy plane and take the z value, and if I select the y, I can use either plane actually. I can use both the zy or the zx plane. Yes, since I'm only interested in the x value of the intersection, doesn't matter which plane. Which means, do I even need to consider it as a plane? The only problem with this approach is if I'm standing right inside of this plane and I want to move the selection along the x-axis. I guess in this case I could take the z. Hmm. I guess I need a smart way to select the right axis there. Okay. So I'm gonna do that as a to-do for tomorrow. And moving the selection along the selected axis. So I'm not quite sure how to do this part yet. So that's gonna be to do for tomorrow. And I think I'm done streaming for today. I've been streaming for 2 hours and 20 minutes. So thanks for watching, everyone. Please make sure to follow my channel and also follow me on Twitter if you like. If you want to if you want to know when I'm gonna stream next time, it's probably gonna be tomorrow, but I always announce it on Twitter beforehand. So tomorrow we're gonna continue where we're gonna leave off today. Yeah, so thanks for watching and I'm off. So see ya.